Hey campers and hikers, ever wonder what's best on your campsite? A plastic tarp or a nylon tarp? Which one's better? Which one has the advantage over the other? Hey, let's explore right now. Okay, all right, my name is Pete and this is my YouTube channel, Rugged Outdoors Guide, and I appreciate you joining me. Guys, before I even start talking about this tarp behind me and different options for camp tarps, I gotta tell you that I'm visiting a friend of mine, a beautiful forested property here in southern Ontario, but I also happen to be in the middle of wine country. And there's vineyards everywhere. And so what's happening is when I'm talking, you're gonna hear behind me and all around me what sound like cannon fire, like a reenactment of the Civil War. It really does sound exactly like that. And what's going on is that those are what we call bird bangers, and farmers use them to scare off birds from eating all of the grapes just before harvest. You know, they're not quite ready to be harvested, but they're ripe enough to be decimated by every kind of flying creature there is in this part of the world. And so those are just loud, banging electronic devices that scare the birds off. It also scares visitors because they don't know what's going on. I've seen people duck thinking that somebody's actually shooting or something like that. So it's just, anyways, I'm just throwing that at you just so you know what's going on. We'll try to ignore that as best we can. All right, guys, so having said that, I just got to tell you another interesting little aside. I've just come back from a short hike in the Niagara escarpment forest, or a Niagara escarpment forest. That's where I am, at a place called the Niagara escarpment in the Niagara region of southern Ontario, and it's just a sort of a protected, really cool, I don't know what they call it, biosphere or environment where minimal intrusion is allowed, but there's a lot of trails. It's just a really cool stretch of land that goes all the way from Niagara Falls, like literally the falls area of Niagara Falls, all the way up, like, I don't know, 100 something miles or something, to a place called Tobermory, which is on a little tiny peninsula. Well, it's not that tiny. It's called the Bruce Peninsula up on Lake Huron. So it's just, people hike it all the time. It takes many, many days, and so it's just kind of a neat place. And that's where I am right now with my tarp. So let's start talking about that. That's what you came here for. So what's better, a plastic tarp that you see everywhere on campsites, they're ubiquitous, or this, which is a nylon tarp, which is a newer product. They've been around for a while, but just, you know, when you're comparing the two of them, when I was a kid, there was no such thing as tarps like this that were for sale, you know, anywhere, but there was a lot of plastic sheets. So which one is better? Well, I'm going to set up the plastic one in a bit, but right behind me I've got the a particular style of tarp. It's from a company called Unigear. I got it off of Amazon. I got all the links below. You can check that out. And let me just tell you what this one is all about, and then we'll talk about the other one, and then I'll tell you my final conclusion as to what I think. So this particular one is made of 210D ripstop nylon. Now that might mean something to you. It doesn't mean that much to me. It's just it seems like a pretty durable, water-resistant, water-resistant nylon, and that's basically what it is. This particular one, is somewhere around 10 by 10 feet square. It's just a bit under. It's 9.5 feet by 9 3/4. So it's basically 290 centimeters by 300 centimeters, I think is what it is officially. It's 1.7 pounds. It's pretty light. You can't really tell much difference. Throw it in your backpack or whatever. It has 8 grommets, 6 nylon ropes that come with it for rigging, and 6 aluminum ground stakes, which are actually pretty they're pretty big and stiff and sturdy, right? They're not little cheap ones that bend really easily. Unigear likes to say that this is multi-purpose and it can be used even for a ground sheet. Well, I'm telling you folks, I don't care what product you have, if it's made out of nylon, you don't want to use it for a waterproof ground sheet. Like if you're on the ground and it's raining and you expect to be protected from that wetness, forget about it. All right, so I wouldn't use it as a ground sheet if you're looking for water protection. If you're just looking to not get dirt on your body or something like that, well then that's fine, you can use it for that. It's water resistant, it's not waterproof, just like most nylons, all right? It has a lot of configurability, or whatever the word is for that. You can configure it however you want. There's a lot of different options because of all the ropes and rigging that come with it, and the grommets that are everywhere. So I have this one set up kind of like you would if you were sleeping in a hammock, for example. So I just have two sort of diagonally, the two corners are tied up to a tree, and then the other two corners are just sort of attached kind of to the ground or near the ground. This is not a great configuration if you're wanting to sleep under there. Then you want to set that up with the sides close to the ground or touching the ground in sort of a pup tent style. But this is not a video about how to set up your sheet or your tarp, but just which one has advantages and which one is better for your purposes. So this is just set up in one particular way right now. I like the fact that the aesthetic is pretty nice. Like it blends into the forest pretty well. Many of the plastic tarps are mostly like either silver or they're bright blue, so they don't actually blend in, although there are some that do, so I can't really you know, complain too much about some of the options available there, but I just like this one because it fits nicely in sort of the visual scape of the land. It's quiet. When you fold this one up or unfold it, it's like a tent fly or a tent itself. Like it's just, there's no noise going on, which is not necessarily the case with other options, which I'll talk about later. It's really relatively inexpensive. Everybody wants to know how much it costs. Well, of course, the price changes according to the size you get, but this one, the 10 by 10-ish feet square one is the least expensive, and it is $46 Canadian, right? So it's probably like 25 bucks US. You guys are so lucky, I'm telling you. Okay guys, here I am on a different day with the Unigear rain tarp, or the camping tarp that I'm reviewing, and just want to let you know that I have had it up for enough time for rain to actually hit. So there it is behind me. It's just in my front yard. And you can tell, actually, if you look around, you can see the ground over here. See how there's wet blotches. So the rain kind of just stopped about an hour and a half ago, and things are drying up now. But just to kind of let you know, we'll go inside here, and I don't know how much you can see. Here's the bag, the peg bag, and it's dry as a whistle. The inside of the tent, I don't want to touch it too much, but it's dry. There's actually not a drop of water to be seen anywhere inside. So as expected, it did work. But just want to show you one more thing. I did bring a hose over because this is in my front yard. Here there's a bunch of landscaping. There's always a hose here. And check this out. Check out what it looks like. It just beads off beautifully. I just love that look. It just comes off so nicely. It almost looks like it's covered in oil. So anyway, it passes the water test as expected with flying colors. Okay, so right behind me now is a kind of a traditional setup of a plastic or polyethylene, I don't know, whatever it's made out of. It's just a plastic tarp, all right? And the one I have behind me is, it's 9 by 12 feet in size, so it's similar to the last one, the Unigear nylon one. That one was 10 by 10, this is 9 by 12, so it's sort of the same. It's a similar coverage footprint, just a little bit of a different configuration. Couldn't find one that was square, which is kind of what I wanted to have so I could compare it. The weight of it is 2 pounds, so it's only slightly heavier than the nylon one, so not noticeably. But here's the thing, while it does come with 14 grommets, which is great, it doesn't come with any ropes or any rigging, all right? So you're gonna have to buy that separately. It's just a pain in the butt and it's a few extra dollars, right? So that's important to keep in mind. The other one will always come with rigging. If you buy a specific tarp that's nylon, that's meant for your campsite, it will always come with rigging and pegs and all that sort of thing. So this one definitely does not do that. I'm just kind of mixing here my positives with negatives, and you can just kind of put the whole picture together. This is completely waterproof, right? That's a good thing. You can use that as a ground sheet. You can use it as a rain protection like this. So that is a good thing, and that is something that I wish in a perfect world my nylon Unigear tarp would be completely waterproof, but that's not going to happen. So that's one good thing. You can put a check mark there for plastic. It will be waterproof. Here's the other thing that I don't like, that when wind hits this thing, which it inevitably will, especially if you're on the shore of a lake, it makes noise, and it's just got this ugly like nylon doesn't make any of that sound, right? So I just don't like that. And I also don't like the fact that when you pack it away, it wants to maintain a level of rigidity. With the nylon, I don't even have to actually pack it up nicely and roll it up and fold it. I can just scrunch it up like, you know, a dirty old t-shirt and chuck it in the laundry. That's the kind of thing I can do with my Unigear tarp, whatever, you know what I mean. Can't do that here. Here you've got to fold it on its pre-folded folds, you know, or it'll fight against that and it'll be wider and bigger and puffier. So you kind of want to get it the same way every time and fold it nicely and whatever. I don't know, I can't be bothered when I'm on a canoe trip, especially if it's raining and I want to get out of there fast, or there's a break in the rain and I want to tear it down fast, jump in my canoe and take off. I don't want to sit there and yutz with it and kind of like make sure it hits all the other, the previous crevice or creases in it and stuff. Forget it. It's like folding up one of the, you know, a map of you know, the world from National Geographic. It takes like 10 minutes to fold it back up again, because you got to hit the right folds in the right way at the right time. Not just sometimes, anyway, so that's the one thing I really don't like about this tarp. You can also configure it in a lot of ways, so that's a good thing. It has even more grommets than the nylon ones, so that's not an issue at all. So what about price? Well, for this particular one, it was close to 65 bucks. Now you can get them in a range from as little as $15 to like $70 for this size, like a 9 by 12. And this one happens to be 5 mils. This one is totally fine. You don't need any bigger than 5 mils under normal circumstances. Okay, so between World War II cannons going off behind me, we have been able to take a look at 2 very able and adequate solutions for keeping water off of your head on your campsite. What do I think about each one? Which one would I choose? Well, let's take a look at just sort of a really quick overview. Both of them offer great rain protection. Both of them have a similar coverage area, though this one is square, and I couldn't find a square plastic tarp, which is a little bit annoying for me in the way I like to set it up. But anyway, that could be a small thing. Both are similar price, and both have a similar weight profile. So there's a lot of things that are the same about them, but because of the differences that we talked about through when I talked about each when I talked about each one individually, I honestly, like, for my money, especially since this one is just a little bit less expensive too, even if it wasn't, between you and me, I like the nylon tarp. Guys, I'm going to keep making videos whether you subscribe or like me or not, all right? And until the next time I see you or you see me, get out there, enjoy God's creation. It's right there. And keep on looking up.